Hey, John.
Hey Eric, how you doing tonight?
It's good. I can feel myself fading already. It's
eh,
it's been a lot of early mornings this week.
you know, it has. It has. It's all good.
Yeah,
It's all good.
it is.
One day at a
It's all
time.
good.
So,
How was your week?
my week was pretty wild. Like, um, my
Yeah, yeah.
parents came in on Wednesday. Thursday night we had the practice run concert, um, for Mountainside. Friday, actually, it was we didn't really have anything planned, but my son had homework to watch Forrest Gump or to write a paper about Forrest Gump. And
Right.
so we watched Forrest Gump, which was fun. And then
Mm.
Saturday, we had a practice concert here out in Hillsboro. And then we had to quick hop in the car and jet down to Corvallis. And actually, my wife like they finished the practice concert. My son closed up his cello. I took it. She grabbed him, ran to the car, took him to the high school, and then, which is like, I don't know, 20-25 minutes from where we were from the concert. And then he literally got out of the car. Somebody threw a T-shirt at him. He got on the bus and they headed to Corvallis. So she was like, I think we made it by like 90 seconds, or they would have like taken off, which would have been
Right.
like no big deal. We would have just driven down there. But it's different when you're on a bus full of band kids versus like in a
Yeah.
car with your mom, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, and that they took fourth in state. Uh,
Nice.
so the concert on Saturday, we stayed for. By the time we got down to Corvallis, we could hear the final four. So they group all the bands in groups of four. So we heard the final four, and that's where Mountainside was playing. And then we got to hear the last one of the previous group. So we basically got to hear five bands, and really they were the five best bands. Overall, it was great. And then Sunday was the real
The real
Metropolitan
deal.
Youth Symphony final concert for the year. So yeah, it was a pretty
Nice.
pretty wild, like music filled 4 days. So and then
Mm.
and I dropped my parents off at the airport Sunday morning, so they were back up to Alaska. So
Mm.
it was a very packed weekend. I did Saturday morning before the first thing, and since it was going to be so hot on Saturday, I got into my
Right.
bees like early, like 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and they're doing great. So put in the second mite treatment.
Okay.
Um, my surviving colony, the colony that survived through the winter, is so almost dead, even still. So that queen is not good. That queen is not good. There were some eggs. I looked. There were some eggs. They did not look like they were from drone layers. But I'm gonna check them again this weekend. And if she doesn't have a frame of eggs all filled out, I'm gonna try and find her. I didn't see her that last weekend. I'm gonna try and find her, send her to a farm upstate, and put a
Mm.
frame of eggs from one of the other colonies in there and let them raise a different queen. So
Make a
that's
queen.
my plan. So I don't know what's going to happen, but
Okay.
we'll have to see. Because seriously, there are hardly any bees in there.
And
And
you're the one you split? So you got the nukes and then you were splitting one
so
or
the one I
trying to.
split, hold on, I might have to look at the calendar on my phone. So the one I split on June 3rd. So I think that's 2 more weeks. Yeah.
You can check it on June
I
3rd,
get to
is what you're
check it
saying.
on I get to check it on June 3rd.
Ah, okay.
So
All right.
I put something in I did the math and I put it in my calendar. So I literally have a thing
Smart.
on June 3rd called check for eggs. So I will check for eggs on June 3rd. Um, so but until then, I'm not touching. Like, don't let them be. So
Right.
Don't mess with it. So we'll see.
Let them be.
Yeah. Oh, that was inadvertent. Okay. Well, I've been watching too much Ted Lasso.
I look for puns. I find puns everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. How about you? How was your weekend? Your week?
Well, because it was hot, I had a much more boring weekend than you. I prepped our air conditioner over the weekend.
Fancy.
Got, the sprinklers all measured out, make sure they're spraying right, turned the sprinklers on for the season finally. So it was mostly around the house chores, but the rest of the family, very thankful that they had the AC running a couple days ago when it was 90 or almost 90, and which is very hot for here.
Yeah.
Which is stay inside,
Exactly. Appreciate your air conditioning.
Yes. So that was my week, really. It was chores around the house, nothing fancy.
Okay. All right. That's cool. I planted a bunch of stuff in the garden though too, with my mom in particular. She while I was working, she's like, "What can I do?" I'm like, "You could weed." So she went out and weeded a bunch, which was great. It was awesome. So
great Mother's Day present.
I'm not a great son in that regard. just to be like,
well, neither am I, because it just occurs to me now that, oh yeah, it was Mother's Day this weekend.
Okay, well that's a little worse than me, but not much.
Well, so here's the Mother's Day story. So, and this is every year, and this is Eric probably embarrassing himself more than he should, but every year my wife asks for flowers, and so Mother's Day is the time of year when we go get flowers, and I plant them for her out in the front, and it's just a Mother's Day tradition. Okay. She loves pansies.
Okay.
And every year she tells me, get pansies, not the petunias. You always get petunias. I don't like those. Pansies. Get pansies. Guess what I came home with this weekend?
Again.
Petunias.
Like it's a pretty flower, and it starts with a P. Or did they just not have pansies?
I swear. So to throw my son under the bus along with me here, I had told him, that. Mom wants. I could have sworn I told him, Mom wants pansies. Help me remember, it's pansies, not petunias. And then when we went out Saturday to go get the plants, I'm like, what was it? Was it petunias or pansies? You remember? And he's like, petunias. You said petunias, not pansies, right?
Oh.
So I'm like, I need to write it down.
I was going to say,
I need to put it in my calendar.
There's a solution for this. Actually, there's multiple solutions for this. Yeah.
So, but the front yard has a bunch of very nice, very pretty pansies.
Petunias.
And I actually got some,
you
petunias.
Got pansies.
That's right.
Now you're all confusing me.
No. I screwed up. I got the petunias. So there's a bunch of nice petunias. But I also got these Asiatic lilies that are a little bit different and super cool as well. So I won some points with the Asiatic lilies. They're yellow. They look really pretty. If you Google the flower, I'll try to put a picture. Anyways,
a couple of years ago,
I screwed up with the petunias, not pansies. You'd think I'd learn.
You'd think. You're the type of guy that would write something down like that. Yeah.
You would think. That does sound like me.
That does sound like you. A couple of years ago, I think it might have been for Mother's Day. I don't know. I got my wife a calla lily, I think, and they're very pretty, and they're bulbs, and after, I don't know, it sort of, we had it in the house for a while, but then I took it out to the greenhouse at some point, because they go dormant and blah blah blah. So it's been in the greenhouse for the last couple years, and so last year, or the year before last, I split it into two. And then last year, I split it again into 6. So now I've got, it's taking over. There's now the whole end of the bench is calla lilies, which I don't think will actually live outside, but they seem to really like being in the greenhouse. So in another, assuming that they double every year, In another couple of years, I'm not going to have a greenhouse. I'm going to have like a calla lily house or something. I don't know. But they're all like coming up now, and I don't know. The sprinklers. I also turned all my sprinklers and stuff on, and so the sprinklers are going to keep them wet, and they'll be happy. And I don't know. I seem to kill most plants. I have a terribly brown thumb. But you know, I don't know. They seem to live, so my fingers are crossed. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. Maybe I'll cut it out. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Late. Get the right flowers. Write it down. Put it in the calendar. I should do that. Although, seriously, this is probably the 5th or 6th year in a row I've screwed this up. And so it's now kind of become a thing.
But like, just put because you can remember Petunias, both of them. Pansies. Just have like all you have is like a single note that says pansies, not petunias.
Oh yeah,
and then you can. I wasn't sure if you were being funny a moment ago or not, but maybe you should have me proofread your note once you send it.
That's right.
Anyway, okay. Well, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Well, enjoy the nice weather while we've got it. So
yeah,
it's all good.
It turns here pretty quick.
Yeah, I gotta get
back to the 60s here in a few days.
Big sprinklers working yet? I haven't done that. Maybe that's one of the jobs for this weekend. Nice. Anyway. All right. Well, hey, how about a topic? What'd you bring me tonight?
All right. So I have two. The first one is we've talked about ChatGPT, generative AI. It's kind of overtaken the tech bubble
zeitgeist
from the metaverse and VR, and now everybody's talking about ChatGPT or those type of programs.
Generative AI.
Of course, what happens as soon as something becomes very popular? Scammers, grifters kind of all stick in. So of course, a security firm, Sophos, published a report showing that Apple's and Google's app stores are, quote, riddled with ChatGPT programs that are really nothing but fleeceware. So they function, but they charge you fees. Now, ChatGPT is not free. You have to buy credits to be able to use it, and it's pennies for hundreds of queries that you can do, right? Well, so there is some legitimate reason to ask for some kind of subscription, but all of these apps, I like the quote in here is, the apps claim to connect to OpenAI's ChatGPT, and many do. So, because OpenAI, the ChatGPT, it's a platform. Developers can write code. I mean, this is what it's built for. It's built for people to build apps. But of course, as soon as you do that, you are now opening yourself to scammers, etc. So just a heads up that if you are using or downloading a air quoting free ChatGPT program because you want the free trial subscription, or whatever, sign up, we won't charge you, we'll auto renew, the same old tricks, free, and then you can get for $10 a month, you can get a pro subscription that automatically launches after your trial period. A lot of them also will just be littered with ads because they're just trying to get ad pennies for every ad they show you as part of it, and then you can pay money to get rid of the ads. And as it notes, not all of them actually talk to ChatGPT. It doesn't say what the ones that don't do actually go to, or if they just don't go anywhere. They just fail to work. And the other comment is, the scammers really don't care about getting caught because they make as much money as possible while they're on the store. And then once they get booted, they just rename the software, send it off, create a new account, launch it again, and just never-ending cycle. So Sophos had found a bunch of apps, told Google and Apple about them, and Google and Apple happily banned those other apps. But as soon as it gets banned, it goes away. And if you have downloaded any of these apps and, figured, oh, I'll just get rid of it now that it's not there, that doesn't actually get rid of your auto renewal subscription. So you got to check your account for auto renewals if you've got that set up. So anyways,
super scammy.
That's the first one. Watch out for ChatGPT. Convenience of ChatGPT on your phone, great. Scammy apps, not so great.
Yeah.
And then the second one is kind of down the same lines here, but I'm sure you've seen Google has new registered domains that include the .zip TLD and the .mov MOV TLD. Right. So there's now they're getting new 8 top level domains for their .dad, .phd. I should go try to register jokes.dad. .prof, .esquire, esq.foo, .nexus, .zip, and .move. So .zip and .move have been around for a while, but they just haven't been accessible to as available to other developers. But you can imagine a scammer, because what is a .zip, right? It's an archive. You download a zip file and you explode it, and it's probably got an application in it, and then you can install the app. Well, now if your website ends with .zip, now I can send you to a horrible website. You think you're downloading a file, or your software that is used to something ending with the extension .zip thinks it's a zip file. You can only imagine the chaos and mayhem that may ensue.
That will be fun.
Air quotes.
In air quotes. Yeah.
But some of the fun ones that have already been discovered are using characters so that you can now have your website say https://google.com Unicode something to look like a slash, like inbox username @ and then a domain name, something.zip. And now, because of how URLs are formed, that @ symbol is a way to partition off a username, if you want to pass the username. So there are ways to trick you into thinking you're going to google.com now if you just eyeball it. And you're not really, you're going to something.zip.
Man.
So there's a lot of exciting things. So the fact that the .zip and the .move are available, reasonably decent security software is going to be able to protect you from anything dangerous there. But it'll just be yet another thing that your eyeballs have been pre-programmed for years, that if it ends in .zip, it's a file. Now that if it ends in .zip, it might be a website.
Yeah.
If you're looking at something. So just a fun heads up there with that one.
All right.
So those are the two that I saw this week that were interesting.
Fun. Okay.
We're a lot of air quotes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm feeling snarky tonight or something. I guess I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Channel your inner Eric.
All right. Well, I also have 2 topics, and they're both by the same person. So Dan Gooden at Ars Technica, and they're from last week. So the first is about, and I don't know why I didn't see this last week, but the FBI officials on Tuesday dropped a major bombshell after spending years monitoring exceptionally stealthy malware that one of the Kremlin's most advanced hacker units installed on hundreds of computers around the world. Agents unloaded a payload that caused the malware to disable itself. So this is a piece of malware called Snake. Quote, the name of a sprawling piece of cross-platform malware that for more than 2 decades has been in use for espionage and sabotage. one of the most powerful tools in Turla's arsenal. Snake is a digital Swiss Army knife of sorts that runs on Windows, Mac, and Linux, written in C. Snake is a highly modular series of pieces that are built on top of a massive peer-to-peer network that covertly links one infected computer to another. So that's that was kind of key to their downfall, is it's all peer-to-peer. So it's got a bunch of components. They list them in here. Backdoor that allows them to install or uninstall things on computers, send commands, exfiltrate data of interest to the Kremlin, etc., etc. But here's the thing. As FBI agents continued to monitor Snake, however, they slowly uncovered some surprising weaknesses. For one, there was a critical cryptographic key with a prime length of just 128 bits, making it vulnerable to factoring attacks that expose the secret key. Not sure if my bolded piece came through in audio. Not 128 bytes. 128 bits. And where it takes a lot of time to try and factor 128 bytes, it does not take a lot of time.
128 times 8, I think, if my math is correct.
That would be correct. So it says, using the insights, FBI agents eventually developed Perseus, which is kind of funny. Let's see. An application that could detect when two machines were communicating with each other using Snake's custom HTTP. Perseus works by mimicking the beginning of the Snake session authentication protocol to provoke a suspected Snake implant on another computer to provide a response that is unique to Snake network communications. The exchange is similar to one computer sending a ping to another computer to test network connectivity. So basically, you can test, and they didn't have details in this article, at least, whether it was, like broadcast or something like that, or just sending a packet to a particular port. I don't know. But test whether or not another computer's infected. So,
Snake. Hiss.
What?
Instead of ping, it'd be snake hiss.
Yeah,
you
hiss.
Get the hiss back.
Hiss. I like it. So...
Dad jokes.
So, you just said that a minute ago. Yeah. So it said that, so they basically developed the capability to leverage the command and control of Snake and the ability to inject their own commands. And they got court approval to basically start sending the disable yourself commands through the network. And they did. So
nice.
It says that the FBI developed a technique that exploits some of Snake's built-in commands discussed above, which when transmitted by Perseus from an FBI-controlled computer to the Snake malware on subject computers will terminate the Snake application and permanently disable the Snake malware by overriding vital components of the Snake implant without affecting any legitimate applications or files on the subject computers.
Self-destruct.
Kind of a...
It's like a virus.
Snake, eat thy tail. So...
What was the mongoose? Why didn't they go with mongoose? That would have been...
well, Perseus. Perseus is the one that cut the head off Medusa.
Correct.
So, I don't know. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good naming, FBI. So there you go.
Ricky Tikki Tavi was too long.
Yes. All right. My second article, and this is kind of a little horrifying, is about the leak of MSI. So that is Microstar International's UEFI signing keys. So, basically, there was a ransomware attack. It said that one of the things that the hackers got access to was, it said, 2 private keys that enabled signing of firmware updates for MicroStar's motherboards, firmware updates, which is pretty terrible, especially since MSI doesn't have a overall management infrastructure that some of the other OEMs do that will allow them to revoke those keys. So it's still up in the air. What can be done if you have an MSI motherboard? And they are incommunicado. They're not saying anything.
They're probably trying to figure out what exactly they can do.
Perhaps
their lawyers are like, don't say anything till we can say something.
That is the most charitable way to say. And I mean, I know nothing about the internals of it. I would want to believe that for as long as possible. But yeah. So let's see if there was other data in here before I go on to the next thing. Yeah, they did say that MSI issued a terse advisory saying it had, quote, suffered a cyber attack on part of its information systems, and that advisory urged customers to get updates from the MSI website only. But it made no mention of leaked keys.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. What does it say? Yeah. MSI doesn't have an automated patching process the way Dell, HP, and many larger hardware makers do. And then, let's see, radio silence. Yep, radio silence. Company representatives didn't respond to email seeking comment. Nope. So, the second part of this, though, so there were 2 keys in the dump. It says the money message hackers also acquired a private encryption key used in a version of the Intel boot guard that MSI distributes to its customers. So this article didn't go into too many of the implications of this, but Intel is basically saying, Intel's response was, Intel is aware of these reports and actively investigating. There have been researcher claims that private signing keys are included in the data, including MSI OEM signing keys for Intel boot guard. It should be noted that Intel boot guard OEM keys are generated by the system manufacturer, and these are not Intel signing keys. So it's MSI's problem, not ours. It's only MSI, according to that quote, that is problematic. And, but that's super not awesome and may have other implications for who has the public keys and how easy those public keys are to revoke or to, revoke across platforms. So,
right.
I didn't actually look to see if Microsoft had any sort of response, but, so really at the moment it's in limbo. MSI isn't talking. The keys are known to be out there. If you had or have any MSI hardware, don't install any firmware updates is basically the situation at the moment. No hardware update is better than any hardware update or firmware update. But there was another comment in here that says, unfortunately, there are many third parties that resell MSI hardware. So there wasn't detail about how you might know, but I think the tricky bit is if you think that you're clear, but really it's just a labeled motherboard or something like that. So that's a sticky situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that because I'm pretty sure the fancy new PC we have behind my shoulder is a white labeled MSI motherboard, or is a custom board by the company. It's a gaming company that creates custom boards. But I just Googled really quick, and people make comments. It's very similar to the MSI blah blah blah. So it might be similar because
It
It
is.
is, just with a brand name
A
on it.
different
A different
icon.
a different logo on it.
Yeah.
So
So
I will have to keep an eye on that one.
don't deploy any hardware or firmware updates for the next
Yeah.
few weeks at least until something happens there. So.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
There we go. How about something fun? What'd you bring me tonight?
All right. So I just want to let you know that astronomers have completed a comprehensive examination of all the large asteroids that zip around our planet, and they have determined that Earth won't be struck by any object for at least 1,000 years, probably. So it's very important, probably part of it. So we did
how much weight is the probably carrying in that sentence?
all this research. They cataloged all near Earth objects, NEOs, they call them, that were at least 1 kilometer wide.
Okay.
Out to within 30 million miles of Earth. So every asteroid, and I couldn't find the number. If you happen to see the number, I couldn't find the number of how many that added up to in the article. But they basically focused on all these NEOs, and there is actually a NASA Center for Near Earth Object Studies that have been tracking NEOs for years. And the goal of that is to flag any that might pose a threat to human civilization, because, we don't want to go the way of the non-avian dinosaurs and get wiped out. Although, if it so happens that, we have several movies
Don't look up
options we could do. Yeah, Don't Look Up is the wrong approach. There was the one, what was it with Bruce Willis? The asteroid.
Armageddon.
Where they went out. I don't remember the name of it.
Armageddon, wasn't it?
But, oh, yeah, I think that's right. Armageddon. They fly out to the asteroid and land on it and blow it up.
Uh-huh.
So it's lots of little pieces. Anyways, I just thought there is a whole, you can look in this article. It's got the Sentry risk table, which ranks all the riskiest objects around Earth and what they're, they monitor all these things. And we already know that based on, trajectory, because you can map this out, right? It's physics and math. You can map out how their orbital patterns, and you can say, hey, we guarantee for the next 100 years, nothing's going to happen. Smaller objects, and the further out they are, the higher probability that error may be introduced. So anyways.
Well, it's not just physics, it's Newtonian physics. It's the physics you can understand.
That's right. It's the physics that makes sense. So anyways, that's my article. You can read it. It's in space.com, on space.com, that Earth is probably okay from a devastating asteroid impact for the next 1,000 years. So if we invent hibernation technology anytime soon and you want to stick around, make sure you hibernate for less than 1,000 years, and you should be fine.
Okay, just so long as the singularity doesn't happen, we're good. Okay, I got it.
Space is still expanding, or is it shrinking? I don't know. All right.
My something fun tonight is it's also a sciencey thing, but it's actually maybe it's a biology thing. It is comb jellies may be the world's oldest animal group. Evidently, and I didn't realize this, but there has been over many years, a dispute going on about what could be the oldest that we've identified organism, the earliest known to split off of whatever the common ancestor is from 600 million years ago or more. So,
and we went from single cell organisms to multi-cell organisms.
Yeah. So it says over the years. So more than 600 million years ago, the first multicellular organisms evolved in the ocean, giving rise to all animals alive today. Scientists have long wondered which was the first group to break off from this common ancestor and begin evolving separately. Over the years, Competing studies have frustrated researchers by bouncing back and forth between two possibilities, comb jellies and sponges. And they go into a little bit more detail about that. But it says, now a new study published Wednesday in Nature points once more to the ancestors of comb jellies as the first to split off. And there's a quote by an evolutionary biologist that says, I've learned not to
interview some comb
ever...
jellies? I mean, how do we...
Well, they go into it. Hold on, please wait. So the quote is, I've learned not to ever say the debate is over, but this moves the needle. Is the quote from Antonius Rokas, an evolutionary biologist at Vanderbilt University who was not involved in the study.
Okay.
So it said that historically or previously, they've looked at changes in DNA sequences to try and identify sort of which may be earlier. But the problem is that there are lots of mutations, and sometimes they can go back. And so it says this method is not always reliable. Mutations in DNA may arise for a while and then over millions of years change back per the times. Additionally, the same mutation can arise separately in lineages that are unrelated. So this study tried something completely different, which is based on chromosome structure instead of DNA. So let me see. The quote here is, usually, despite pieces of DNA getting swapped and changed, genes stay on the same chromosome. But sometimes, in a rare and, this is important, near irreversible event, huge portions of DNA move to a new chromosome. These larger scale patterns are less variable over long periods of evolution. So they examined the chromosomes of comb jellies, sponges, and 3 different kinds of single-celled ancestors of animals, and found that the groups of genes in comb jellies and in the single-celled organisms were arranged in the same manner, but those genes in the sponges and other animals were arranged in a different way. So basically the sponges were closer to the animals than to the single-celled organisms, indicating that the comb jellies were less related to the animal or the single-celled ancestors of animals.
Okay.
It says, let me see. The findings suggest the ancestors of comb jellies may have branched off from the common ancestor before these gene rearrangements happened, which is why they do not share the gene patterns found in sponges and other animals. So that is the smoking gun.
Got it.
So basically, there's this near irreversible change, and all the animals have it, and sponges are on the animal side of this, and comb jellies are not. They have the same thing that the single-celled organisms have. So that seems like I'm barely a scientist, and I read an article on the internet, so I'm with the comb jellies, evidently. But I thought that was cool. I thought that was
with the comb jellies.
I thought that was cool. So there you go. That's my something fun. That's my something fun.
Right.
You know, science moves forward in very small ways sometimes. There's another dad joke for you, just for you.
Easily entertained.
Well, you know, it's gotta do something to smile. So, okay.
All right.
There you have it, Eric.
Thanks, John.
Have a great night.
Enjoyable as always.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you later.
Night.
Bye.
We'll see you. Bye.